Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Solo to Entrepreneur Show. You are with me, the host, one and only Lorraine Chai. Today, we're looking into something that people either love or hate, and it's the topic on AI. But the thing is, AI has always been around. Or AI has always been around. It's just the fact that we don't label it as AI. We just call it technology. It's just the fact that there is a constant use of the word AI in this generation, that there is two lots of people. There's one lot of people that are on track in terms of jumping on that bandwagon. And there's the second lot of people that are so scared that they don't even want to touch it or have anything to do with it. So today I have Damon with me, and he is one of the AI specialists, and is going to be talking. We're going to be talking the whole concept about AI and why people are so afraid of it. So,
Yeah.
welcome, Damon.
Lorraine, thank you so much for having me. It's really great to be here with you. I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. So, to you, you originally were not in AI. You were working for the government, but for you to come into this whole realm of AI, why did you come into this realm of AI?
I find that AI is one, obviously cutting edge. Everybody's talking about it, and as you said in your intro, it's something that's been around so much longer than we even realize it has been. I wrote a book on AI in healthcare, and in doing the research, I found that there were instances of AI in healthcare that date back to the 60s, where
Mm,
folks were trying to model out different types of research on specific molecules in order to develop drugs and understand disease states and things like that. I spoke to a guy in the insurance industry, and he was telling me that they've been basically using AI for 40 years, where they've been doing predictive modeling on various states of insurance coverage, et cetera. And so it's something that's new to us as consumers, the same way that, ubiquitous technologies were all over government. Computers took the space shuttle to NASA, and the classic thing is we've got more compute power in our hands with our phones than the computers did on the space missions. So all that to say, there's been so much computational power out there that we are only now just getting introduced to AI when it has been in the background of our lives in ways that we didn't even realize. So I
absolutely.
really,
So,
yeah.
so let me backtrack a little bit, right? Like the whole, I love to see how things evolve, right? The way that
Hmm.
back in the day we had those dial-up phones, to the brick phones, to the
Yeah.
flip phones, and the small phones and the big phones. And people in that generation, they were not afraid of that change. Why do you think people are so afraid of this kind of change in terms of the whole concept of AI?
I think there's always folks who are afraid of change, if we're honest, right? And it's sometimes it's not so much what the technology will do as much as what it's going to do to the next generation. Sometimes that's the issue. I think the huge concern with AI is that it is labeled as quote unquote intelligence.
Mm,
AI is really pattern recognition and prediction. But because it's called intelligence and we as humans believe that we're the only ones with intelligence, it feels like our brains are going to be replaced by another brain. And this is what you hear some of the leaders in the AI space talking about, is trying to get to a true AI brain that can think like a human. We're not there yet, and it's going to take a little while, but this is where the fear comes from. And I was having this conversation earlier today that I think a lot of folks are fearful for their jobs because it feels like someone is going to come in and say, your job is no longer appropriate because we've now implemented AI that can do your job. I think less of that's going to happen. I think that people should be embracing AI so that they can make themselves as skilled as possible and retain their job. Where I actually see the job issue is going to be in jobs that they don't even realize they could have gotten,
mm.
where a company is going to have previously put out a position description on LinkedIn or wherever the job posts go, and before they put out that job description now, they're going to pause and say, "Wait, could we do this with AI?" And so I think the job losses are likely to be in places where you would have seen a job and now you're not seeing that posted because they turned internally and said, "Hey, can you guys automate this for us?" So that's where
Right.
I think the job losses are going to happen. And it's
But
going to
with
take a
everybody
while
being
for the data to
with
show up.
with everybody being fired or let go, right? It's it's the comparison is like back in the day when they had machines. or before they
Hmm.
had machines that had they had factory workers, but then
Yeah.
the companies brought in machines to try and be more efficient, productive
Mhm.
wise in terms of the time frame that they have and cost as well. We remember back then people had strikes. It's like they're taking jobs away without realizing that there is a way of evolving and learning how to manage those machines back in the day. And it's the same thing now. Instead of taking it as a loss of work, it's more of, okay, how do I implement this and how do I use this to my advantage in terms of the whole concept of technology and AI?
Yeah, that's right. And even in the machine age, there was a time when more manufacturers were creating more machines such that you needed more people to manage the machines. The difference here is that the thought processes that we have, the pattern recognition is going to replace a lot of the things that people can do. And so part of our big challenge here is we've got this confluence of issues in the employment space. You've got folks who were released from big corporations. You've got folks who were released from the government and all of their various agencies. And I
Mm.
like to remind people when folks are released from government, it's not just the government employee that was released, it's also all of the consultants and contractors who were supporting that government agency who are also part of the jobs numbers that are now either on the bench or also released. You've got students who are coming out of college who are looking for jobs, and so there's this crunch on the jobs where people who are overqualified and have been released from any industry are looking for every job they can get. And there's students and all of those other folks who are looking for jobs as well. There's immense pressure on the job scene right now.
The way that I look at it is urgency, right? Like during the COVID days, we had to so very quickly learn the whole concept of Zoom because back in the
Yeah.
day, nobody wanted to use Zoom. Nobody wanted to be virtual. Everybody wanted to still maintain as a physical one-to-one kind of environment, right? Whether or not it's coaching, whether or not it's an event, that was how the world was. But because of COVID, we were all forced to learn very quickly how to use Zoom,
Yeah.
Skype, all these things.
Right.
And even Skype was even before Zoom, right?
Yeah.
So I think the question to ask people in this day and age, whether or not it's in business or people that are thinking of starting business, is how desperate are you and what is the urgency of actually making it work for you in whatever job that you choose, using AI to your advantage rather than seeing it as an enemy.
Yeah. No, that's a really great point. And one of the things that I think I'd like to remind people of is what I said earlier. I would like to see people get skilled at AI as opposed to
Mm.
being afraid of it, because what you can end up doing is making yourself invaluable because you have skilled up. So if you think about how a business is trying to operate, it's trying to gain efficiencies, it's trying to reduce costs, it's trying to be as effective as possible. And a lot of that production can happen through AI. And if a person has gotten themselves to a place of being extremely skilled and better at their job because they're deploying AI, that is a tremendous opportunity for them to retain their employment. So I would like for people to think about this as the next step. And I think that that's part of the challenge is folks see it as a replacement when in fact it can very much be an augmentation. I mean, imagine if you could go to work and do your job in half the time, but be doubly productive. That could be amazing.
Or going to work without driving, having a driverless car, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Imagine you're sitting in your driverless car working on your AI on the way to work, and you're almost halfway done with your job by the time lunch comes around. It'd be incredible. And your work is even better because it's augmented by these thought processes. It's incredible.
Absolutely. So, with you, Damon, being in DC, what is the outlook of how things are from DC itself in terms of technology, in terms of the growth, in terms of the transformation and the change?
Yeah, it's really interesting from the perspective of DC because obviously this is a center of policy. And
Mm,
one of the big challenges that we have right now is that the federal government is trying to regulate AI. And it's an interesting juxtaposition from its other regulatory stances because a lot of times this administration has said everything goes to the states. The states need to have all of the autonomy to do what they want to do and make individual decisions. Yet here we are in this AI realm, and the federal government has said, oh, we've got this one, right? So
mm.
everything else goes to the states, but when it comes to regulating AI, the federal government wants to do it. And I think there's probably some perverse incentives behind why the government wants to maintain AI. I mean, if you've looked at the number of tech billionaires and entrepreneurs who have gone to the White House, gone to, Florida, to Mar-a-Lago and other places and had these sit downs and, really sort of knelt to the president in terms of trying to get him to support their businesses. I think that that's probably a lot of what you're seeing is that regulatory decision making being centralized in this administration for those purposes, because a lot of those people are wealthy. This administration loves wealthy people. And I think that they see an opportunity to hold tight to the reins of AI. And so I think it's a challenging dynamic that we find ourselves in.
True, true. But let's look at it with the older folks, right? The older generation.
Hmm.
They are so afraid of AI because nowadays the phone is listening to your conversation and it
Yeah.
gives you marketing. And the thing is, the tracking system. Like I just renewed my car insurance and they want me to activate this tracking system in terms of where I am at all times.
Mm.
So what's your thought about all this with people that are afraid of being tracked and being heard? Because even even Google, like even searching something online, everything is tracked in terms of, okay, this person, is on this website from this country, from this IPA, from this
Yeah.
this destination and this location. Our privacy is not really
Privacy's
as
gone. Your privacy's gone. Let's like it was a fun word while it lasted, and I'm sad to say that, but it's listen, the AI companies are several things. One, Grok, Gemini,
mm,
ChatGPT, Perplexity, they're all scraping the open internet, looking for everything that they can to inform their models to make them as intelligent as possible. And so what that means is every piece of data that you put out there, they're trying to scoop up. And in essence, they're running out of data. I mean, the computational power is so phenomenal that they're scraping up all kinds of data in ways that we never expected. And there's some danger to that. One, people are creating AI content, and some of it is what we would think of as slop. And so,
mm,
if this AI slop content is also being put out onto the internet, you're in essence infecting the knowledge base with crap that was produced by AI, which is now informing AI. It's garbage in, garbage out. So, there's a sort of unfortunate circular essence to what AI is going to start to ingest. But back to what you were saying about this idea of us being tracked and having lost privacy. I mean, obviously, there have been some ways that it's been really beneficial to us, but now I believe we've reached a point where it's going a little bit too far.
mm,
So, the big AI models are going to be scraping your instant messages, right? I'm sitting there having a private chat with you, Lorraine, and we're talking about, something juicy that happened in one of our groups, and now they're scraping that. What is the purpose of that? Do you see what I mean?
mm.
So I personally have a problem with that, and I think that people should really take time to go online and learn how to unsubscribe and de-identify themselves in any way that they can. But it's a laborious process and it's a challenging process because they need to get more data. And
Yeah, but it's like a pro and con though. Like
yeah,
certain countries like Dubai especially like you can't call out. I remember being in Dubai and you can't call up from WhatsApp, you can't call up from Instagram or any sort of technological because the government itself has been so protective, but up to what limit is the protection? Is it protecting people from communicating with each other, but they have access to those people's devices? Like how does that work, right? And we don't
right.
know all these things. But I think look, it's not all about fear. I think it's using it to our advantage. If we're not doing anything wrong, that's fine. If we're not doing anything illegal, that's
Yeah, of
fine.
course, right? If you don't
Yeah.
have anything to hide, it's not a big deal. But still, I mean, just to think about it, your phone is a private place for you, and you don't
Mm,
have to be up to anything super nefarious. But just imagine how creepy it is. Like, imagine if a guy walked up to your window right now and just kind of peeked in, just wanted to look in there and see what you're doing. That would be creepy. It's
it
weird.
is
Do you know what I'm
creepy.
saying? So, like,
Yeah,
why should anybody be peeking in on my phone? That's
yeah,
just weird.
yeah.
So, that's how I feel about it.
Well, let's get into the pro though, because you're an
Yeah, there's a
AI
lot of pros.
specialist, right?
Yeah,
And the thing is, like, even with the tracking system, the tracking is there is good and bad about it, but we're gonna take the good side of it. Like, it's good to
yeah,
track your kids, especially when they're young, because you want to know their whereabouts and you don't want them to get lost,
yeah,
those
for
kind of
sure.
things. And that has been helpful with people that have, lost their kids, let's say, or investigation kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
let's take it back where in the whole concept of business, right? Like people are so afraid of change. I heard a story of a business owner who's still back in the day of handwriting every single data instead of using
Um,
spreadsheets. Like it's so outdated that it
mm,
slowed down the whole concept of business. But when his son tried to take over, or at least try and transition the business over, the son was given 6 months to try and automate as many things as possible, which
mhm.
allowed the business to grow so much. So with the whole growth of AI, and I know it's an overwhelming environment because there's so much out there, right?
Yeah.
There is, as you said, there's ChatGPT, there's Claude, there's Gemini, all these things. How, what, and how should people or a business owner look in terms of the concept of AI?
Yeah.
Where should they start, right?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think one of the things folks have to focus on is some of their pain points and what's keeping them up at night, right?
Mm,
If accounting is your biggest challenge, then that's where you need to focus in order to try to make moves. If it's literally just following up with clients and customers, then that's something that you can focus on. It may be that you've got poor marketing and you've got, no social media, that may be what you end up needing to focus on as well. So there's a lot. I think what people need to do is figure out what the business case is that they're most urgently needing to fix and focus in on that. I think a lot of times folks think of AI as the strategy when it's the tool to make the strategy better. And so this is how we need to think about it is making sure that folks are sitting down to their pain points, recognizing this is the set of issues that I need to fix. Let's focus in on one, make sure that we get our use cases right. And AI is, in fact, deployed in a way that's going to be beneficial to the business. And now that we've proven that it's going to work, we can use that as a foundation to expand out to other different pain points that we have.
In a way, it's like as if you're searching for a secretary.
Yeah, it could be. Like that's literally what you're looking for is the best help you can possibly get, right?
Mm,
You don't want to bring in someone who doesn't have the skill set that you need, right? And so if you deploy the wrong AI for the specific issue that you have before you, it's not going to do what you want it to do, and you're going to be irritated with your AI deployment. So this is why it requires you to sit down with somebody who is a strategist who can
mm,
help you to understand these are your business issues. These are the kinds of tools that need to be supportive of that. But it's also what we said before, the garbage in, garbage out.
mm.
You've got bad data going into your systems. You're going to have bad outcomes coming out of those systems. So there is going to be a little bit of work that needs to be done in order to make sure that from start to finish, what you've deployed in terms of AI is going to be effective. And it may begin with that stack of papers over there that needs to be scanned, itemized, cataloged, what have you, and the data points are refined in order to even go into an AI system. So there's a lot that goes into it, but there's so many professionals out here to help people. It shouldn't feel overwhelming. There are folks who really truly are dedicated to making this successful for business owners, and we can absolutely make it happen.
So with the whole concept of AI and people being fearful and people not being fearful, now we also have a whole chunk of people that are coming into the world of AI, right?
Yeah.
So how would you advise someone that's looking for an AI specialist such as yourself in terms of
Mhm.
identifying who it would be a good person to work with? Because it's like the whole concept of marketing. Now that we're in the realm of marketing digitally rather than back in the day, the newspapers and televisions and stuff like that. So how can someone recognize an AI specialist who is good in their industry?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, one of the things that I think is unique about AI is that there are, in fact, specialists for specific industry verticals. And so when you're in your trades, you're on LinkedIn and you're connecting with all of the people that you would normally connect with, you're going to start to see AI strategists in your feed who talk about the specific things that you're interested in getting a fix for. Those are the people that you want to start to reach out to and follow them and see what are they talking about? Are they actually chatting about my issues? If they are, those are probably people that you want to connect with. And even if they're not, they probably know somebody who
Mm.
is going to be instrumental in bringing you the foundational change that you need. So just because you haven't found someone who is specific to your niche doesn't mean that you shouldn't engage with them. Because, I mean, think about this. This is how we network, right? You and I had a conversation earlier this week or last week, and we were talking about all of the different connections that we have. And even though you and I are not in the same industries, we know people who do things that are supportive of each of the, goals that we have for each other. So there's nothing wrong with engaging an AI strategist and then asking them to connect you with somebody else. This is classic networking. You engage the person in front of you, but you also want to build that relationship to see how you can be supportive of their goals and see if they can connect you with the right person to meet your own.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for me, the way that I look at things is it's more of everyone helping each other rather than it's my business and my success. Is
That's exactly right.
my purpose is to be able to help you and eventually make the connection with somebody else that could be
Mhm.
of value to you, or you could be of value to somebody else. But
Absolutely. There is
but
enough to
let's
go around.
absolutely, right? Wealth can be shared. There's no reason of being selfish. We can all grow together and learn with each other.
That's right.
Now, I'm gonna take this away in terms of what is Damon's routine in the morning because you have replied me very early in the morning as I was awake at that time. So, what is Damon's morning routine?
Yeah, we are two early birds. I my alarm is set for 4:45. I frequently wake up before it hits and I go straight from the bed. I sometimes sleep in my workout clothes so that I'm ready to go straight to my gym down here in
Oh
the
wow.
basement. Oh yeah. I mean, listen, you got to set up, you got to take the friction out of your routines if you want to be successful. So, it's not like I sleep in sweatpants and a hoodie. I'm in, shorts in my workout, but I will sometimes sleep in that. I will go straight to feed the dog and I go straight to my workout. I'll walk the dog right after the workout, and then I get to the shower and I get straight to work. And so I've joked that, it used to be that I had a 5 to 9, my
Yeah.
9 to 5, and then a 5 to 9, right? You gotta maximize the time you have in your day, and the morning is the best time for me. I'm a morning person. My brain is fresh. I get my juices flowing by exercising, and then I get right to it. So it's the morning is the best time of day for me.
All right. So what about people that are night owls? Like, would you
Mm.
recommend for a person to work according to how they feel because maybe they're more productive at night, or what would your
I'm
suggestion
challenged
be?
by night people. I got to be honest with you. My wife claims to be a night person, but then she's up late and then she wakes up late and then she complains that she's not productive. And I'm like, yeah, because your ass is up too late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I struggle with night people, but I recognize that not everybody subscribes to the circadian rhythm. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Listen, some people relish the fact that everybody's gone to sleep and now they can stay up, but I personally feel like your body clock is set to the way that the earth moves and that the day goes. And if you're trying to stay up late, you're extending yourself being tired. But to each their own.
Yeah. It's not
Are
that
you a night
it doesn't
person?
work. Well, I usually wake up at about your time, as you say. I'm trying to push it to 4 o'clock, but the thing is, I have to sleep early, and that has been
Yeah.
a little bit of a struggle, um, to
So what
sleep
time would you
early.
have to go to sleep if you were to get up at 4?
10-ish, 11,
Uh-huh.
10-ish would be the ideal time.
Yeah.
But since I've been flying around with different time zones, it's been a struggle to get back in the rhythm.
It's
So
hard
I'm
to keep
trying.
up. I know. I
Yeah. So I
know.
don't know
And
how
then
people
your
do
eating
it, but you're
slips
trying.
and all kinds of other things slip. Yeah, it's tough.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
today I had an event and we were talking about the whole concept of planning for 2026. So by the time this airs, it may be already 2026. So with planning for 2026, how advanced are you in terms of planning and having your vision towards the future?
I'm
How
already into it. I've already started thinking about 2026. I'm
Mhm.
playing in 1Q, 2Q. I've got goals. I've got a list of items that I want to start to accomplish. Some of them begin with ending 2025 the right way. I've got a lot of things that I would like to do in 2026. So, listen, you can't be successful at what you're trying to accomplish by starting when it needs to start. The planning ahead of time is what makes you successful at, game time. No professional athlete shows up to the court never having practiced. They have
Mm.
practiced for months and months and months before they get to those games. And that is the difference between those who are successful and those who are not. So I fully encourage people to get planning, strategizing, connecting with other people who can make you successful. Have those networks that are going to hold you accountable, but also those people who are way smarter than you. They know how to get things done, they know how to make those connections, and that will really help to propel you forward. So I'm a big believer in that.
So the procrastination is real, right? With a lot of people in terms of I'm going to start next year, January 1. And then
Yeah.
the thing is when that hits, it's like, okay, I'm going to start in the Chinese New Year, Chinese New Year, New Year. All right, that hits and it's like, okay, I'm going to start in the, I don't know, whatever other religion and race or
Yeah, right,
cultures
right.
New Year. So I was always pushing back. But I told the group today that I had, I'm like, it's as if you're pressing on the snooze button when you have an alarm clock.
That's
Is you're
right.
consistently pausing and pushing forward the success rather than claiming that success in advance. For
Yeah.
you, how important is it for you to reach those goals? Are you a person that tries to reach them in a shorter period of time, or you just go accordingly? What's the goal for you?
I try to drive hard towards goals as much as possible, right? Because what ends up happening for me is in the middle of achieving a goal, I'll go, oh, I got a great idea. And now
Mm,
I have another thing that I want to accomplish. And so the sooner I can meet the first goal, I can get to launching the second goal. So this is classic speed of implementation. If you're not moving quickly to get things done, then all of your stuff is going to stack up. I'm sure people listening can remember a time when they've written a to-do list and they didn't get through all of it. And then the next day, more stuff was on the to-do list. And
mm.
what ended up being, a leftover items list of three turns into nine the next day and potentially 10, 12 the next day. So really moving quickly and not letting perfection be the enemy of good enough is really powerful. So
But it's also understanding the difference between transactional and transformational kind of tasks
I agree.
rather than
Right.
just doing the task itself and then not getting anything out of it.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. It can be so easy to get bogged down in the tactical execution versus thinking
Mm,
strategically. And there was a book that someone quoted basically the idea of who, not how. Don't think to yourself, how am I going to do this?
mm,
Who is going to execute this for me so I can move on to the next piece of my strategy? And that's something that I think a lot of people struggle with because you come up with an idea, now it's your baby.
mm.
And this notion of getting to a place of delegating your baby, raising your baby to somebody else. It's a business baby. It's not a real baby, right? You're not going to be, discredited as a true parent. You're coming up with an idea. You're trusting others to execute on that idea and you're checking in on it to make sure that it is meeting with the strategy and goals that you had. Push it forward so that you can free your mind space to go do other things.
Mm. What would your advice be for people that are starting out a business and like just let go and starting out a business? Like, what would your advice be?
Just take your first step, whatever it is. And it's start your, reaching out to people who are in your space to get to know more about that industry. Set up your website and change your LinkedIn to identify as that thing. One of the challenges that people have, I think, is that they say, I want to be a, but they don't actually identify as the thing. And
Mm.
so if you constantly are talking about wanting to be something, so
Rather
let's
than
just say it's
claiming
real
it,
estate
right?
investor. I want to be a real estate investor. One day I'm going to be a real estate investor. And you keep kicking the can down the road yourself. If you just start to identify as I'm a real estate investor and now I'm in real estate investment groups and I'm on in real estate investment podcasts and I'm doing this, it's the action of I am versus, gosh, I really want to be someday. That mental mind shift right there changes things dramatically. So, this is why I say you have to just take those first steps.
Mm.
And, nobody can help you move forward if you're not moving forward yourself. People can push you and propel you or pull you forward. But if you're stuck without movement, nobody can help you.
Has there been a day and time where you do have the feeling of doubt?
Everybody has doubt every once in a while, right?
Mm,
There's everybody gets imposter syndrome. Everybody wishes they were smarter on a topic, but I try to use that as fuel, right? I've heard so many global leaders. I've heard so many billionaires say, "Listen, I was never the smartest person in the room. I
mm.
just moved faster than everybody else." And when I hear
Fail
that,
faster, right?
yeah, or succeed faster, right?
Mhm.
But you can't do either one if you're not moving. That's the thing. You can fail fast if you're moving fast. You can succeed fast if you're moving fast. But if you're standing still, you can't do either one. And again, these folks, these leaders who have said, I was not the smartest person in the room.
Mm,
I just moved quickly and I had ideas and I looked for the smarter people than me so that I could get these things executed. That's why they're successful, right?
mm. So I'm known as a person that if I call sick, that means I really can't get out of bed, right?
Me too.
And
Yeah.
for you, you were not feeling the best last week. How did you manage that? Because usually people use that as an excuse.
Yeah, I was actually I so for those listening, I did not sleep the night before. Like there was just, and I actually didn't have a voice. And so to be on a podcast, I looked sick. I didn't have a voice. Like there was just no way for us to do this thing.
Right.
But I hear you on people making excuses. And I'm a productive person. I have things I want to accomplish. I was actually sad not to be productive, but I also realized my body was telling me something. You
Mm,
need to slow the hell down, cool out a
exactly.
minute, heal this. It's almost like if you go to the gym and you get an injury, right? You could try to work through that injury, but you're not going to be at nearly as productive because you're nursing an injury while trying to work out. It's better for you to take the time to heal and get all the way back to your better self so that you can really power forward. And
Mm,
that's it's just one of those natural things that happens in life. Many of us like yourself are very hard charging, but there does come a time when you have to stop, allow your body to heal, get the sleep, get the rest, and it's an important cycle for us to go through.
So how would someone get in touch with you is I will put down all the information on the description below
Absolutely.
in terms of emails, whatever contact. Please do follow Damon.
Yes.
He is an amazing human being that is very intellectual and be able to help you in all your AI space. But Damon, I am assuming that it's not just all about educating and pointing people in the right direction. There is a possibility of you doing it for them and with them in terms of
Yeah, absolutely.
their
I'm happy to
journey.
partner, to educate, and to connect with folks. So you can find me on Instagram. It's at Damon L. Davis. You can find me
Mm.
on LinkedIn, Damon L. Davis. And you can email me, Damon at adaptiveintel.ai. So check me out. I'm looking forward to connecting with anybody who wants to talk more about AI. And Lorraine, I just appreciate you so much for having me here. This has been really great.
Absolutely. But another thing as well, I want to put in your podcast episode as well because you have a podcast yourself, even though it's not
Sure.
linked to AI. And
Yeah.
it's more of helping other people to see the human side of yourself, right? So I'm gonna
Yeah.
get that information from you. I'm gonna put everything on the description, guys. And by all means, do follow him, like him, and see if you can reach out to him because he's
Yeah.
happy to help and have that chat.
Let me
So
just tell you
other
really quickly what it is because since you raised it, so just really fast, Lorraine, I'm adopted. I'm in reunion with my biological family members, and I interview other adopted people about their own adoption and their attempts to find their biological family members. That podcast is called Who Am I Really? I encourage you to listen. It is an array of stories like nothing you've ever heard. It is good adoptions and bad reunions and awful adoptions and amazing reunions and everything in between. You think about race, religion, geography, socioeconomic status, and all of those factors are part of the adoptee story. When you listen to these stories, it's just an unbelievable array of human experiences. So thanks for raising that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So guys, tune in because there's a different side of how we are and who we are, and it's always very interesting to see how things are, whether or not you're adopted or not. So other than that, thank you for being here. If you do like this episode, please do like, subscribe, and share this to everyone else. Other than that, Damon, thank you for being here,
Thank
and
you for
everybody
having me.
else, I shall see you on the next episode.